Hey everyone, welcome to the SQL Masterclass. So in this lecture, what we are going to look at is basic SQL command. So I could not emphasize how important this lecture is. I would recommend you to look whole lecture series because most of this in your interview, most of the question are asked basically this types of commands, and I would recommend you to look whole video through it. And in next part, we are also going to have a how to approach SQL interview questions. So what we are going to look into this lecture. So the first three things that we need to look onto is DML, DDL and DCL commands. So the first command that we need to look at is data definition language. So what it means is basically how you define your database. So basically it consists of like how many rows in your column, like if this is your table, right? How would you define? First we need to create. So in SQL there is a create command that what it does is basically creates a new table with empty objects, and it does not contain any objects inside it. So first what we could do is we could create a table, and then what we need to do is, right, we need to insert in this. So we are manipulating it. So then the data manipulation comes, and then the third is basically a permission, so whom you allow other people to access those database. So this is known as DCL, data control language. So in data definition language, basically it's how your database structure is, and the first one is like create. How what it does, it basically creates your database, and this is the most this is one of the common command that we are going to use. And next that we are going to look at is alter. Basically we have a table, and then we need to change it, like change the database schema. Then we use the alter. This is uncommonly used, but the most important question is coming up next. So the drop and truncate. So once you created a table and you want to delete it, you could use either drop and truncate. But I could not emphasize but how much important is this. But the drop and truncate command are asked very often in interview, and the question is like this: like if you are given command, which SQL command would you use to clear the database? And if you remember, you might say, okay, I remember truncate or drop, both removes the column. But there is a slight difference in drop and truncate. So drop basically deletes all the object. It does not. So if you have this row and column, and you say let's remove the third column. The third column consists some data inside it, and you say drop column 3. So what it will do is it will clearly remove the column 3, and your new table would only consist 2 columns. Why? Because your first and second column were saved, and you said in your SQL command you said drop column 3, so only 2 columns would remain. Now what is truncate? Basically truncate removes all the data inside it, but it does not delete it. So suppose 3 contains some data inside it. This is all the column contains some data, and when you call truncate, it will remove the data, it will clear it, but not delete the column. This is the main difference between the drop and truncate. So now let us look at data manipulation language. What is basically DML stands for data manipulation language, and one of the most important interview question is like describe what is DDL, DML and DCL. And you must know that DDL stands for data definition language. Basically it defines the structure. DML stands for data manipulation language. So if you got this, your database is created, how you manipulate it is related to the data manipulation language. And DCL is like data control language, whom you provide the permission to edit that database, and how you could remove those permission using grant and revoke. So mostly you will be like in your like once you are in data science or you are a database manager, you will be playing with DML commands. So basically what it is basically select, you need to manipulate the database, you need to add data set into data manipulation language. And basically what is data manipulation language consists of is select, insert, update, delete, and you would be using select all the time. So basically select is used for that, we are going to look in deeply in a few minutes. Basically select is used to retrieve data from the database, and DML is for manipulation, right? So manipulation could be you either need to retrieve the data, you either need to insert the data, or you either need to delete the data. In software, if you are in front end or you remember some CRUD method, right? What is CRUD basically is create, retrieve, update, and delete. So if you remember form, right, first we need to create a data form, then there is in software development, basically I'm connecting this link to the front end part. So if once you for example you create form, so first you need to create a form, and next what you need to do is once you create form, people would fill this form, and then what you could need to do is retrieve those data, and third is like update those, like if someone have been there is any update in database, basically if someone living in XYZ and they have been transferred out to some other location, we could easily update the data. And third is delete the data. Most of the website does this. So basically if you need to consider any website, so let's say let me go down and say, let us say this would be let us go down a little bit more. So basically let's say we have, what's your favorite websites? Let's say you use Twitter or Reddit, right? Most of the people use Twitter, Reddit, or let's say Instagram, and you could take any other example. Basically these all are the thing. So in Twitter, right, what you create is a post, and then when user see is so this is a what command? Create command. You created a post, or you could say it's like for SQL it's like insert, and then you create, and whenever once you create a command, other people could see it, so it's a retrieve. Other people could see it. So if someone other user is here and they want to look at your tweet, they are retrieving your tweet. So next what you could do is, suppose you have a typo in your tweet, typo. So what you will do? Update it. Like basically you do it, right? In WhatsApp messaging, you sometime you type, you need to update it. So what type of command it is? Update. Next what you need to do is, suppose you created a very bad tweet and you want to delete it. So what it would be a yes, it would be a delete one. So once you create a command, but it's not you created a command and you need to posted something, but you need to delete it, so it's a delete one. Next update, delete. I think we are done with CRUD. That's what it is. Basically if you want to consider it, you have created one, you then retrieved it using those data, then you have updated it and deleted it. So what it is? DML, data manipulation language. What did you do in the similarly for Reddit? Once you create a post, it's a create command, then once you update it, it's a update command, and once you delete your post, it's a delete. Once you want to update your post, right, you want to add better images, so it's a update one. Similarly for Instagram, so Instagram, you create a post, image post, video post, then other people could see it, it's a retrieve. So other people could see, then it's a retrieve. People could see your post, and suppose you create a bad post, then it would be a you need to delete that post, right? If some post is bad and you did not want to show it to other people, you need to have a feature that could delete it. And then we have, I think we have covered all the commands basically. So that's how basically all website, if you want to boil it down, they do this, like create, update, insert, delete. And this is for all website, right? For Facebook, for WhatsApp, for Telegram, for Discord. This is the basic whole structure of the website. And now let's look on to get back to the DML DCL commands. So now we have looked onto the data manipulation language, what is select, insert, update and delete, and these are the most important terminology, and these are the most important commands that you need to know, because basically that's what you are going to do. Like I have been doing all my entire software development, that is you select, insert, update and delete, and that would be you would be doing in your like command structure. Now let us look at what is the next command, that is data control language, so DCL. So DCL is basically provide permission to access database. You can't provide, so what, suppose there is no database, right? There is no DCL language. So what will happen is like let us go to new clean board. So what will happen is, so suppose here is your user, right? And this was basically main issue when people did not have DCL. And what happened was, we have the database, and so suppose user 1 is able to access this database, user 2 is able to access database. Next one, let's say hacker wants to access those database. It could easily access those database because we did not have DCL commands, because we did not able to stop that request from the bad actor, that is hacker. So we created DCL commands. Basically this is one scenario. Other scenario could be like, suppose there is a developer who want to access directly the prod server, like production server, where your main website it is, and if he have directly basically like sudo permission. Basically what is sudo permission, it all have read and write permission. It could create a lot of fuss, because suppose because first of all it is production server and only few people have those access, because it's if someone able to get the access of production server and he is playing with it, and suppose it automatically deleted all the database, then your suppose the company you are working on will be on your back, because you have deleted the whole data set. So that is why the DCL commands came into play, so providing grant access to the user, and it's applicable to all other software as well. So if you need to get into the website, have a developer access to it, you need to have some grants, like sudo grant or like owner grant. It's if you go into like in Firebase or any other database server, if you let me just open it, so I'm going to Firebase, right? Firebase or any other platform where you want to basically add a user. The first thing it asks is like which access it needs to provide. Why? Because if we add access to a user, it could literally delete your database. So suppose I want to add, let's suppose xyz@gmail.com, and I suppose this is not made up one, so here are the rules in like Google have created their own. You could create your own, basically owner, editor and viewer. Basically you have, and if you if you upload some images or if you upload some docs, right, they ask you permission when you share. Okay, if you are sharing to this XYZ person, what role it could have? Either he would be having editor access, or he's a viewer access. So or he is a owner. So here you could see that how role plays in. And another example is the docs one. When you share the docs to the people, you need to first provide, okay, he could access this like this docs, and he is the owner, or he is the have the editor access onto the database. So that is what is DCL is basically data control language, and basically it provides us two commands, that is grant and revoke. Basically grant means to provide the specific permission to the user, that is what permission role it have. Admin, is he a admin, or is he a editor, or he is just a viewer. And next is to revoke. So once you want to share the file to the user XYZ, and suppose for some stance you don't want to share more, you could just need to revoke the permission. So here you could use the revoke command. But before providing this command, you need to be the admin of the database. And with this, now let us just deep dive into the main thing of the SQL commands are basic commands, that is select, insert, update and delete. And with this, let us look at what is select command. Now what I will do is I will open the PGAdmin 4, and we have, if you are looking this lecture for the first time, you could look onto the previous one more lecture, that how did we install the PGAdmin 4. And to be honest, it's little bit tricky, and what I will do is basically you will see Postgres SQL 16, because this is the version, the 16th version we have installed. If you have installed latest version, or you are looking at that time some other version have been released, so this might change. And then what we need to go do is we just need to create a database, and we will name it as DVD rental. And one thing you might encounter is when you open your PGAdmin 4, you might get to see place your ID and password. The password is the same that you have installed when you were installing. You just need to add it, and for this purpose you don't need to add some complex password. Admin or password could easily work, because we are learning, of course, but not in company or industrial way. So once it's downloaded, what we need to do is first we need to install the dataset. So here's the link to the dataset that I have downloaded, and here you could download it easily by clicking download the raw file. So DVD rental 3.raw file we need to download, and I will paste the link in the comment section or in the description, so you could easily download and take the material from there. And once it's downloaded, what we need to do is basically click on restore, and here you could see file name is not provided, so we will click on those file name. And here I want to emphasize on this part that you might not able to see your tar file, because in this only backup was selected. So we will click on all files to get all the files, and here that we have downloaded the file DVD rental. So I will click on the DVD rental, and now we will need to come to the data section, and here we need to click on pre-data, post-data and data. Once that done, we will click on restore, and we will see, okay, process failed. Let us see what's the process failed. basically if you look onto this error, basically it's saying it's failed to create a duplicate because it was already created. Once that's done, what we need to come here is need to come to query tool and test or first command, your first command in SQL. So if it's done successfully, you could say for testing select star from film, and if you click to run this, you could click on execute script and the shortcut is F5. So it's better to use shortcut because we need to upflow or work, like we need to, I really like shortcut because it saves a lot of time. So here if we look onto this, we get all the data, and remember the format of the select statement, that is select and it's from the star, that is this select star, select column 1 column 2 from where the condition, group by, column and all those things. So here is the statement, like generic statement of the select statement, select column 1 column 2 from table. So what we could do is next is we need to open PostgreSQL and let us run some commands onto this. So first thing what we could do is, let me get only the first few things like title and let's say length. Title and length column we need to get. So what do we need to write? So okay, so to get the column we need to write this column name in select, and the select star is basically to tell you grab all the columns. So select star is grabbing all the columns, and that is why we are getting all these columns. Now if we need to get only title and let us say length, what we need to do is title and length. And if you look here, that the format of this could work on like smaller and also on the big. So if we run execute the script, we get the title and length, but you know what's the issue, why it's showing length in purple. Why? Because it's already program defined, so that is user defined variable. So length in SQL gives you the length of the particular data type, so that's why it's giving the pink color. It's not any issue to worry about it. So we got the length. Now let us see what is the few clauses that we need to know in the select statement. So with this, let's move on to the Miro board again. The first thing that we are going to look onto is the order by. So what does order by mean is basically, let me get my pen, and order by is clause that we use, is one of the clause that we use is to get the result and sort it by some particular order. And the way to use is select, we call select. And if you are creating notes, this would be helpful to write it down, and also the above one you could stop this video and write it down. So select some column name that we could add, column 1 comma column 2 from table, that is the table selected, and then we call the order by clause, order by, and here we add the column that we want to order it by, and we could add ascending, or if we need to get it by descending, so ASC for ascending and DESC for descending. So that's how select works, and you could write this down because we are going to use a lot in this course. So what we could do is basically move on to this, and now what we need to do is need to use order by. So I will say order by, and you could see that order by, in this there is a some space, and if we don't add space, it will order by, it will not be in a pink color. So order by, let's say length, and we want to get in a descending order, so we'll say descending. And now we'll run this code script, SQL script, by the shortcut F5, and let's say order by is syntax error or at or near order by. So let me check what. So the issue was with the syntax error is basically the semicolon we need to provide. I hope then it's saying that dsec is not known because it's DESC, and when I write when I started in SQL, learning SQL, there is lot of chance, like I've seen lot of students struggling in the order by command because they knew that ascending shortcut is used ASC, so for descending is DESC, and that's not true for the SQL command. And here we get the length of title, length of film by the descending order. So home pity we get by 185, control anthem 185, soldier revolution 185. What if we need to get by shortest? So you could look at this and say that okay, the largest film ever produced for this data set is around about 3 hours, and to be honest, it's 3 hours is very big movie. So now what I have done is basically change the order by length to the ascending order. Basically, let's see what is the smallest movie that have been created, and the shortcut key to run the script is F5. 46 minutes is very short film movies. Maybe we could say it's a episode 47, 48, and I don't know, I haven't seen any of this movie. Maybe no, I have not seen any movie from this. So that's how we use order by, and then we add a column name that we need to use. Here we have used length column, and then we add a predecessor, that how we need by ascending or descending. So with this you have got an idea how to use select statement with order by clause. Now our next clause is group by and having by. Now let us look at group by. So in group by statement we group the column rows, rows which have some commonality, right? So it's basically used with some aggregate function that is known as, either we could use aggregate function like count, max, minimum, sum, average, and we could also use having, which is if it's some another criteria, if it's we need to get some details, that is if it's greater than or below than particular criteria. So I will open my PGAdmin 4 and I will write a SQL query. So let me see first like on which column I will write the query. So I will first get all the details, and what I will do is I have got all the rows, basically all the columns, and in this what I will do is there is a column that is rating, let us say rating, or we could say rating, and we have another column that is replacement cost. What I will do is basically create group it by rating, that what is PG-13, what is G, what is R rated, or what is NC-17. We'll group it by those, and we will have a average on those and do the selection criteria on that. So we call select, and we need to select the rating column, so we'll select that, and we need to use some aggregate function, right, in group by. So what we'll do is we'll call a function that is average, which will provide us the average, and we'll say do the average of replacement cost So replacement cost, and then what we could do is we could name it in our term average replacement cost. So if I need to use it some next time in this column, I could use as average replacement column. So also I would recommend you to write your query like when you are watching this video, try to understand this, and by side you could try to attempt by yourself. And you know where to get this data set from. I have posted the link of data set in the comment section, and you will be able to get the data set easily. So we need to get it from the film. Next we need to use group by. Why? Because we'll group it by rating. We need to get it, okay, what is grouped by which rating it is. So group and by rating, let's say, and then having, if you there is generally no notation like standard rule. If you are using caps, you could use caps. If you are using small cases, you could use small. What I mean by commands, basically select, or this needs to be in caps, or it could be in small casing as well, or it could be in small or low casing, but the general rule is caps, or you could use small case as well. So it's depend on you. So I always like it depend on my mood, I use all the thing. But if I am in production, or if I am not explaining any on the lecture, so I do it by like if I am in production, I use generally capital casing. So let's say if it's greater than 50, and then we come close this, hopefully save it and run our query. We get the average replacement cost. We could see that the PG rating, all the average replacement cost. If we remove this, we get all the we have seen all those average replacement cost basically, and here you could see that this column name has been replaced by the average replacement cost because we have set it here. Now what I have done is I have added a having clause, right? If we increase it by, let's say, 20, most probably the PG would be gone because it's less than that. Other would be there because it's slightly above, so yeah, it's gone. Now with this we have looked on to the group by command, and group by is always used with having, where having, because having you could do like if you need to add more criteria onto this, you could not use where, which we will look now that what is where command, and we could not use group by with where. We could only use group by with having, and when we are using group by, there is a chance that you will always use the aggregate function onto this, where that is count, sum, and all those things. The last one, that is the where clause, and you could not use group by with where, so you could need to use it separately. And the general where general method is to use where is select from where, and basically it is used to filter your records, and you could write down the general query, that is select, and here we have the column name, select column name 1 2 3, and it could be any column name, right? Where, sorry, from, like, then the table name comes from the table that we declare, and then the where command comes into play, and this needs to be in caps, so I will remove it, and this, because it's in, if we start capital casing, it needs to be in the capital casing, where column 1 or column 2 is greater than or lower than, or it is equal to something. And if I need to imagine how SQL script is, I generally think it's like a plain English to me. And like if you look, select rating average replacement from film, group by rating having average 20. and that's how the SQL statement is. It's generally a plain English that you need to do. Now let us select the title. Select title, let's say release year, and then we are selecting the column in the release year, and what we are going to do is from film we could add where all needs to be capital casing, release year, let's say 2005. Let's run it. You could save the script as well. So here we have all the movie that is released after 2005. Let us see 13. We don't have 13th one. Let's say how old this data set is. Let's say we don't have 10. Let's see if we have 2009 any movies, like 2000. Nope. 8. Let's see. No. What I'm trying to do is I'm just seeing that which year we have got the latest movies. 2006. 5. And we basically the latest movie was the data set is old. It only contains till 2006, and if you know any movie, it's great, but I don't know any movie from this database. So with this we have looked onto the select, where, by, group by, order by, and let's see take a recap. So where is used where we need to do filter. In the records we cannot use where with group by statements. After this we could have learned about order by statement, and if order by we need to like how to get the data in form, like if we need the data in to be the ascending order in some column ways, we could use order by. And in group by there is one thing that we need to keep in mind. If we need to filter the statement, we could use having by. Now we have looked all those things. Now it's time to look at the other thing, that is how you could update and delete and insert the data into the database. Let us look at few other statements that in the data manipulation language we need to know about, that is insert statement. And to use insert statement, right, we need to have this SQL command, that is insert into and the values. These are the two things that needs to be in the insert statement when we need to insert the values, and then the table name, what's the table name, and the column name that we need to enter the values for. So here I am adding values, new movie, then the description, and then it needs to follow the same order. Like if we are adding the title, that first thing once we add the title, the value should be added to the title, then the description, then we add the description, release year, and then the rental length. So this needs to be in the same format way. Now let us look how you could call this into this data set. So I have already written down, so insert into film those, and this statement would add the value into those. So once we run, we are getting null value in the language ID film. So what the issue is, it's saying that we can't add the null values because we need to add some few more values into it, that is value in column language ID and the not. So here I have written down the SQL command for the insert, if you want to insert a data column. So what I have done is insert into and the column names that we need to add, and here the value we need to provide. So here I am providing the very movie title to be, or title, description, accepting new movie, and then language ID would be our one, and then we could press F5 to enter those, and we have successfully entered the data set. Now once we have entered the data set, we got to, let's say, update it. So how do we update this? So basically what we could do is we could copy the title, let's say. Why? Because once we write an update query, we need to set the we need to get it first. So we could say that update film set title to be good film, because it is a good film, so its name should be a good film. And now where it's stored is where title is equal to new movie title, and here it's saying new movie title does not exist. Let us add so the issue was the typo. It is that we need to use single string. So I have used double string and it was giving us the error. So this is the error you need to keep in mind when you use the SQL. We need to use single apostrophe for our statement. Now we have updated our query successfully. Now it's time to delete it. So to delete it, we just need to add a delete query, that is delete from, and from where we need to delete is delete from film, and where title is, and single column good film, because the good film we need to delete it. And here we have successfully deleted our SQL statement query statement. So now let us see some commands that we have used. So let us write it down. So we have used, first one was the update, and to update our command, so to use update, what are the command we use? So to update, we used first we update tag was used update, and then to use update we call update, and then we provide the table name, and in the table name we need to also provide what the value needs to be set first. So subset, and the column name that which we need to update, right? We need to provide in single string, and where column name is suppose XYZ, we need to update. So that's how, or then the apostrophe, that's how the update statement works. Now let us see how the delete statement works. So to use delete statement, let me open the pen, and to delete a statement we call delete, and then here what we call is delete from which table name we need to provide. For here, or it was table name, it was film, and then we provide where clause where title was XYZ. So with this we have learned how to use the SQL statement, and we have used a lot of SQL query commands, that is select, update, and where, order by having clause. And the better thing you could do in this is you could just follow along this video and install the PostgreSQL and try to attempt this example. And in the next example, what we are going to do is basically going to have hands-on on the SQL questions answer. So with this, I will see you on to the next lecture. Thank you everyone.